All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of a real-world Go project and find the architectural secrets hidden inside. We're not just looking at lines of code here. We're on the hunt for a powerful, reusable pattern you can use to build your own professional-grade web services. The project's own documentation calls it a blueprint, and I just love that metaphor. It tells you right away this isn't just a random collection of features. No, it's a detailed plan for how to build things the right way, consistently, every single time. And it makes some big promises: scalability, clean code, and a solid production-ready foundation. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to talk about good architecture in the abstract, but it's way more valuable to actually see it in action. And that's exactly what we're about to do. So here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll look at the high-level blueprint. Then, we'll zoom right into the core pattern that makes it all tick. We'll see how a single feature gets built, then understand how that scales. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this whole approach just works so well. Okay, let's dive in. First up, what are the fundamental pieces, the tools and materials that actually make up this blueprint? So the project uses a really solid stack. You've got Gin for the web framework, sqlc for type-safe database queries, Redis for caching. They even use gRPC for internal communication. But listen, the specific tools, they're only part of the story. The real magic, the secret sauce, is how they're all put together into this super clean, modular, and repeatable structure. And now we're getting to the absolute heart of this thing. It's a 6-layer pattern that's applied with just incredible discipline to every single feature. This is it. This is the 6-step recipe that forms the fundamental building block for the entire application. It starts at the database schema, goes through queries, caching, the service logic, the API, and all the way to the tests. Every feature follows this exact same path. And here's the cool part. Once you get this flow, you basically understand the entire system. Okay, to make this feel real, let's walk through building one vertical slice from start to finish. We're going to follow these 6 layers to add categories into the system. Now look at this. What's so interesting here is that you can see the design intent baked right into the database schema. That on-delete cascade, that's just smart. It means if a website gets deleted, all of its categories get cleaned up automatically. No orphans. And that unique constraint on the link, that stops duplicate content dead in its tracks. It's simple, but so important for keeping your data clean. Now check out the cache layer. This isn't just about randomly stuffing data into Redis. No way. It uses a very deliberate, structured naming convention for its keys. This makes it super easy to grab one specific category. But even better, it allows for pattern-based deletion. So if any category gets updated, boom, it can instantly wipe out all the cache lists of categories. It's an incredibly practical and efficient strategy. And here, in the service layer, we see the cache-aside pattern in all its glory. It's a classic for a reason. The service, which holds all the important business logic, always checks the cache first. It's only if it gets a cache miss that it makes that more expensive trip to the database. You can think of this layer as the central nervous system, coordinating everything. And finally, we expose all that hard work to the world through the API layer. Just look at how clean this is. The controller's job is super simple. Define the routes, slap on some security middleware like JWT-auth, and then just call the right service method. That's it. None of the business logic is leaking into the API layer, which is exactly how it should be. So we've just seen how to build one feature, which is awesome. But the real power, the whole reason this thing is a blueprint, comes from applying that exact same 6-layer pattern over and over and over again. And this is the crucial point. Whether you're working on websites or categories or products, it doesn't matter. The structure is identical. You always know exactly where to find the database schema, the service logic, or the API definition. This consistency is a game changer. It just slashes the mental effort for developers and makes the whole codebase predictable and, honestly, a joy to navigate. This consistency also pays off big time when you need to extend the system. Because all that business logic is neatly tucked away in the service layer, you can bolt on totally new interfaces without touching the core code. In this case, the exact same product service is being used by 2 different front doors, a standard REST API for the outside world and a super fast gRPC endpoint for other internal services. How cool is that? Okay, so let's wrap this up by connecting all the dots. Why is this blueprint approach so darn effective for building real-world, production-ready services? What are the big takeaways here? It really all comes back to that intense focus on consistency. It makes the code incredibly maintainable because you never have to hunt for things. It's super testable because each layer has one clear job. It gives you clarity, which means a new developer can jump in and get up to speed almost right away. And finally, it gives you organizational scalability. You can keep adding features without the whole thing collapsing into a tangled mess. Now, is a pattern this strict a silver bullet? Of course not. For a quick little prototype, it might be overkill. But for a serious system that's built to last and to be worked on by a team, this level of discipline is what makes it truly great. And that brings us to a final thought for you to take away. This isn't just about admiring someone else's code. It's about finding ideas we can apply to our own work. So, think about it. What's one area in your own projects where enforcing a more consistent pattern could bring a little more clarity and stability? It's a powerful question to ask yourself. Thanks for tuning in.